Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are discussing the another topic of hepatology, chronic hepatitis. Previously, I have discussed with you the acute hepatitis, especially hepatitis A, which is very common and it is mostly spread by fecal-oral routes. Moreover, hepatitis E, which has also the same route of spread, which is also very important, especially in the pregnant women. For hepatitis B infection, I have told you it is spread by the injection and needle pricks. Same is with the hepatitis C. It is also spread by the needle pricks. Now we come to the next stage of acute hepatitis, which is chronic hepatitis. Basically, we ask the patient to have the chronic hepatitis if the hepatitis is lasting 6 months or longer. So this is 6 months is important. If the patient has the signs, symptoms, all these things for more than 6 months, we call it as chronic hepatitis. Before 6 months, it is defined under the acute hepatitis and its late stage hepatitis, but not chronic hepatitis. It is basically associated with persistently abnormal raised aminotransferases levels and characteristic histological features. Hepatitis B and C are more common reasons in Pakistan, and we will discuss in detail this one. Other causes of chronic hepatitis are autoimmune hepatitis, and other is the drug induced like INH, isoniazid methyl dopa, ketoconazoles, NSAIDs. They are also cause the chronic hepatitis. Inherited disorders like the alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency, hemochromatosis, Wilson disease, and other causes like the alcohol use and ulcerative colitis. So these are the causes of the chronic hepatitis, and usually these chronic hepatitis ultimately lead to a cirrhosis. So we can say stages: first acute hepatitis, then chronic hepatitis, and ultimately this leads to shrinkage of the liver, which is known as the cirrhosis of the liver. Basically, hepatitis C is very common in our community. We basically discuss in detail the hepatitis C and its complication. If we see the pathologically, it is a necroinflammatory. This is basically a definitions for more than 3 to 6 months. Some books says 3 to 6 months, some gives a period of the 6 months. So there is variation, but for 6 months there is consensus. So mostly this is caused by the hepatitis C, D infection, as we have already told you. If we see the clinical features of all the chronic hepatitis, initially it is asymptomatic, means patient have the no specific symptoms, and they are the general symptoms, like we can say, like the patient have the anorexia, weight loss, okay, and we see the enzymes which are usually elevated, and other serology we perform the test, they will be positive, but these ultimately lead to cirrhosis and complication. As far as the hepatitis C is concerned, basically the patients have the elevated level of aminotransferases, especially ALT, and ALT may be minimal or fluctuating, and 25% of the cases have the normal ALT level. So this is for the hepatitis C. Moreover, the hepatitis C has the genotypes. We divide it 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically, there are the 11 different genotypes. But in Pakistan, the 2 and 3 genotypes are very common, and we meet these patients, and they are commonly treated with the medications. Genotype 1, which is very resistant, but its cases are there, and for these we have to modify our treatment. So basically these are many we can say genotypes, and we planned the treatment according to this. Patient have the liver enzyme elevated, and these all things which come in our cases. One important thing is that either the patients goes to cirrhosis and complication, or during the process of the cirrhosis patient leads to the liver becomes lead to the hepatocellular carcinoma. These are the basically for the if we see the investigations for hepatitis C, we usually perform the HCV antibodies by ELISA method. We confirm it by the PCR test, which is qualitative. Okay? And we also perform the genotyping. Genotype because 2 and 3 have the good response to the treatment. And last part of the treatment is the liver biopsy. These are the say investigation which we perform, and moreover, yes, liver enzyme is also very important. LFTs and CBC, ultrasound. These are also included investigations, but for the relevant investigation to investigate hepatitis C is the HCV antibodies, and other is the PCR test, and other is the genotyping. Both are performed by the PCR test method. And last is the for the liver biopsy. If the conditions are going towards a plus minus diagnosis, we go for the liver biopsy. Moreover, if we are suspecting malignancy, we also perform the biopsy. And the general investigations are the CBC, liver enzyme, ultrasound, and all these things. As far as the treatment is concerned for the hepatitis B, which is which is not so much common as hepatitis C, the treatment protocol is we give the interferon therapy. Okay, interferon alpha or pegylated interferon. But these are available in the form of the injections. Other options for the treatment is the lamivudine therapy. This is the tablets which we use. Other treatment option is the adifovir, tenofovir, entecavir. These are the drugs which are commonly used. I repeat it, for hepatitis B, we perform the test. We give interferon therapy to the patients, and second option is we give the lamivudine. Other is the tenofovir and entecavir. These are the medications which are available in the market and we prescribe. For hepatitis C patients, we previously, as I have told you, give the patients the interferon injections. Interferon injections are simple interferon which are given on alternative days, or pegylated interferon which are given once weekly, but they are combined with the ribavirin therapy. But now they are no more used even in the Pakistan. We now give the patients the tablet form which are available in combination form. So sofosbuvir, ribavirin, declartesvar, velpatasvar, these are the new drugs which are now in use. So these previous treatment is now obsolete almost, which were used in interferon therapy. So new medication which are more effective, and moreover they are the antiviral therapies. Now we discuss the autoimmune hepatitis. Autoimmune hepatitis basically affect the middle-aged ladies. It is basically chronic disorders characterized by continuing hepatocellular necrosis with fibrosis leading to cirrhosis and hepatic failure. Okay, means this is due to the autoimmune antibodies. They attack on the liver cells, and the liver cell ultimately goes to converted into a fibrosed tissue. Chronic hepatitis, that's why the patients with chronic hepatitis in autoimmune, they have the raised serum globulin levels. Moreover, it is also associated with other autoimmune antibodies like pernicious anemia, thyroiditis, and Coombs test positive hemolytic anemia. Usually one autoimmune disease is become the sister of other autoimmune diseases. So if the patient has the one autoimmune disease, we also look for the other autoimmune diseases. Sometimes the patients have the 2 or 3 other autoimmune diseases. So more commonly associated with autoimmune hepatitis are the thyroiditis, we check the thyroid level, pernicious anemia, we check the blood anemia, and hemolytic anemia. As far as the signs and symptoms, these are the general for all the hepatitis. They are the fatigue, pruritus, anorexia, Cushingoid face, arthralgia, hirsutism, upper abdominal discomfort, and sometimes patient have the diarrhea, and sometimes have the pruritus or skin rashes and like acne formation. Sometimes patient have the weight loss and the chest pain from pleurisy, because autoimmune pleuritis sometimes occur. And as far as the common findings which have on examination, patient have the hepatomegaly. We told you that for in the cirrhosis, liver actually shrink, but in chronic autoimmune hepatitis, liver size increased, and we see hepatomegaly, splenomegaly, jaundice, spider nevi. I will show you the picture of spider nevi, ascites, and hepatic encephalopathy. This is the picture of the ascites. Patient has the fluid collection in the abdominal cavity. This is the abdomen filled with the fluid. Other is the spider. This is the spider from central arterioles, and these are the periphery. It has a capillaries. If we apply pressure here, the periphery become blanched, and when we release the pressure here, again these small branches become apparent. As far as the investigations are concerned, we perform the serum ANA level, ASMA level, anti-LKM antibodies, and serum protein electrophoresis. So these are the basic investigation we usually perform. The definitely aminotransferases means liver enzymes, they are raised because it is hepatitis, and serum gamma globulin level is usually markedly raised because autoimmune means antibodies are formed which work against the liver. So when they are formed in excessive quantities, the antibodies level is increased. They are mostly IgG antibodies, serum gamma globulin. But you must remember only one thing, that patient has the raised serum gamma globulin level. So these are the antibodies which usually perform. Other antibodies you must not go into the further detail because the topic has very vast field. You must know only the basic investigations. As far as the treatment is concerned, we usually give the prednisolone, which is the steroid, and the usual dose is 60 milligram per day. But when we reduce the dose of steroids, prednisolone, we add azathioprine, which is an immunosuppressant therapy. Other immunosuppressant therapy which are used for the steroids non-responder are the cyclosporine, tacrolimus, sirolimus, everolimus, methotrexate, rituximab, infliximab. These are infliximab and rituximab. These are the new treatments, and now you are also listening in the media that these two drugs, rituximab and infliximab, are also used for the corona treatment to stop the autoimmune storm. So these are the basic treatments which we give the patient with autoimmune hepatitis. Next is the alcoholic liver disease. I am just giving you a brief description of every topic because this is what required for you in your examination and for your subject, especially BDS. You must know only the basics things of these liver diseases. you are not going to treat these patients. So I am giving you briefly the every liver disease so that you have the basic understanding of these diseases. As far as the next is now the alcoholic liver disease. As is name, the alcohol is basically the metabolized in the liver, and acetaldehyde is formed by the oxidation of ethanol, which is responsible for the liver cell damage. And alcohol can produce wide spectrum of the liver diseases, from the fatty liver disease to hepatitis and ultimately to cirrhosis. This depends upon the quantity of the alcohol which is consumed. Okay, usually with mild consumer patient have the fatty liver disease, where the patient have the hepatomegaly and fibrosis in the central part. If the alcohol use is prolonged and heavy in quantity, if the alcohol is used in the excessive quantity, I will say, patient may have the alcoholic hepatitis. Patient have the deep jaundice, hepatomegaly, splenomegaly, ascites, other features. And for the prolonged user, patient have the cirrhosis of the liver, mean there is a shrinkage. Then we can say the features which are usually present are the fever, right upper quadrant pain, tender hepatomegaly, jaundice is all features of the alcoholic hepatitis. And for the recurrent episodes of alcoholic hepatitis leads to cirrhosis. This is all I have already told you. So you must know the just basics. If the patient is using small quantity, he may develop fatty liver. If it is consuming excessive quantity in short duration, he may develop the alcoholic hepatitis. If it is using for the prolonged period, he may develop into the alcoholic cirrhosis. This is the basic theme of the alcoholic liver disease, because this is commonly consumed in the European societies, in Western societies, but they are used only small in quantity. Okay, if they start using heavy quantity, they may develop these complications. That's why we tell you that alcohol can lead to these changes in the liver parenchyma. As far as the investigations is concerned, we perform the CBC, means complete blood examination, where there is patient have the macrocytosis in the absence of anemia. Other is the leukocytosis, sometimes leukopenia, and same is the 10% of the patients have the thrombocytopenia. Patient have the deranged liver enzymes, and it is specific thing is that here AST level is more than the ALT level. In ordinary hepatitis, patient has more ALT level than AST level, but in alcoholic disease, patient have more AST as compared to ALT level. Moreover, alkaline phosphatase is also elevated, but not more than 3 times the normal. Next is the gamma GT. Gamma GT level is also increased. Basically gamma GT is the serum gamma glutamyl transpeptidases. Okay, and other general investigations which we perform is the PT test, serum protein level test. These are the general investigations, but the specific investigation next is the liver biopsy. Liver biopsy is also very typical for the alcoholic cirrhosis. There is a micronodular cirrhosis with Mallory bodies. So these are the specific investigations. Liver enzyme AST is almost twice the ALT level, and gamma GT level is raised, and same is the alkaline phosphatase level is also raised. Next important investigation is the liver biopsy, where you will see micronodular cirrhosis and Mallory bodies. As far as the treatment is concerned, certainly we ask the patient to stop the alcohol consumed, because if we do not stop the alcohol, then the same scenarios or same things will continue. Other is the nutritional support to improve the malnutrition, and we give the patient thiamine, B1 and folic acid, and glucose administration increase the thiamine requirements and precipitate Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. Basically, this is the beriberi syndrome because of the thiamine deficiency. So before thiamine should be given IV before glucose. This is for the beriberi disease, which usually develop in alcoholic. Alcoholic have the low level of the thiamine level. That's why they usually develop the beriberi disease. And this is for the beriberi disease that you give the first thiamine and then glucose. Don't give glucose and then thiamine. Okay. And other is the for the fatty changes, we ask to quit the alcohol consumption. And for the alcoholic hepatitis, we usually use the steroidal therapy in the form of methylprednisolone, and usually given for the short duration of periods. Moreover, for the patients with alcoholic hepatitis, we may sometimes use pentoxifylline 400 milligram orally per day for 1 month. So this is treatment for the 1 month short duration treatment. We give the steroids and other therapy. For alcoholic cirrhosis, when the cirrhosis has occurred, means liver is now the shrinkage has occurred, then no treatment or drug is available to reverse this shrinkage. We then give the symptomatic treatment. Next is the cirrhosis of the liver. Okay, cirrhosis is basically cirrhosis of liver. All the liver diseases are chronic liver diseases, which I have told you in the first part of my slide. They ultimately lead to the cirrhosis of the liver. So cirrhosis is basically a end result of chronic inflammation, and there is irreversible fibrosis and regenerating nodules. The word irreversible is very important. This means that now the fibrosis cannot be reversed. Okay, and liver architecture is diffusely abnormal, and this interferes with the liver blood supply. This leads to the portal hypertension and also interfere with the hepatic functions, and this may result into the hepatic insufficiency. Causes I have already told you, and these all causes of the chronic hepatitis, they ultimately lead to the cirrhosis of the liver. For revision purpose, for chronic hepatitis B, C, D, alcoholic liver disease, hemochromatosis, Wilson disease, alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency, cystic fibrosis, biliary tract obstruction, drugs, hepatic congestion, these are all important causes. For the drugs, I will repeat: methyl-dopa, isoniazid and methotrexate. They are very important. And for hepatic congestion, you must know that hepatic congestion means congestive cardiac failure patients because of the back pressure in the inferior vena cava. Patient develop the hepatic congestion, which ultimately lead to the cirrhosis in chronic cases. Other cause of the hepatic congestion is the Budd-Chiari syndrome. Basically, this is the venous outflow obstruction in hepatic veins, and this also lead to congestion and cirrhosis. As far as the stages which are concerned, they are correlate with the thickness of fibrous septa. We divide this compensated liver disease and decompensated liver disease. And second is the compensated category is the compensated with varices. In decompensated liver diseases, patient have the ascites, variceal bleeding, encephalopathy and jaundice. As far as the clinical features are concerned, patients have the liver dysfunctions. Clinical features due to liver dysfunction, they are the fatigue, sleep disturbance, muscle cramps, anorexia, weight loss. They are all related with the liver dysfunction, because previously the liver was functioning normally and it was detoxifying its toxic agents absorbed from the gut. Moreover, it has an important role in the detoxification means cleaning of the toxic products from the blood. It produces many hormones which are very necessary for our body, and moreover it also metabolizes the hormones to keep their level at normal. So when the liver itself is dysfunction, all these features of the liver dysfunction usually appeared. Other functions are the clinical features are due to the portal hypertension. These include encephalopathy, reversal of sleep pattern, mean patient sleeps in the morning and wake at night. Asterixis is basically the flapping tremor. Patient have the flapping tremor. This is the test which we usually perform on the patient. Delirium, drowsiness and ultimately coma stage. Portal hypertension can also lead to the hematemesis, varices formation, ascites, spider angioma and dilated abdominal wall. I will show you the pictures. These are the varices which are usually formed at the lower esophageal end. Okay, these are due to the portal hypertension. Because of portal hypertension, because patient have the fibrosis of the liver tissue, there is obstruction of the hepatic vasculature, so this leads to the high pressure in the portal areas, and this portal veins ultimately lead to the varices formation at the lower end of the esophagus, because this is the here the veins become superficial and they become distorted in shape, so they become prominent and they ultimately bleed. When the bleeding occurs, then it's a medical emergency, otherwise patient will die. Here are the dilated abdominal veins. Basically this is the caput medusae formation. We call these center is cleared, and this is the head, and these are the we can snake like veins around the umbilicus. We call it as caput medusae formation. Other feature of the cirrhosis, jaundice, which is shown here. You see the yellowish discoloration, not only in the eyes but also whole of the body, under surface of the tongue, palmar areas, many areas. This is the palmar erythema. Here is there is redness, all thenar and hypothenar area, and central is the pale. So this is the palmar erythema. Moreover, patient can have the Dufresne contracture here. Index finger, ring finger is flexed towards the palm. This is called as the because basically the tendon become hypertrophied and the flexion occur at the ring finger area. This is the ascites, where you see the dilated vein. These small scar marks are due to the scratching of the patient, because the cirrhosis of the patient usually develop the itching all over the body. So when the patient itch, small scars are formed and they remained. Here are the dilated veins which you are seeing. These are the collateral veins which develop in the cirrhosis of the liver patients. These are basically the small collateral vessels which are formed with the passage of time. As far as the laboratory investigation which usually perform in patient with cirrhosis are the raised serum bilirubin levels. Other is the raised aminotransferases level. Basically SGPT, SGOT and alkaline phosphatase levels are raised. Other investigations which are the serum albumin level is low, because albumin is primarily formed in the liver tissues. Basically, this is the function of the liver to form the albumin. When the function of the liver is deranged, then albumin level also decreased. Other is the deranged coagulation profile, PTA, PTT, they are deranged. Then we perform the further studies, imaging studies like ultrasound abdomen, where we see the ascites, shrunken and nodular liver tissue. Histopathological investigation usually are not performed in the cirrhosis of the liver, because now the very high-tech investigations are available like ultrasound, CT scan, MRI, fibroscan, by which we can get these results which we usually get by the biopsy of the liver. So this is for the theoretical purpose that we can perform liver biopsy, but nowadays this is usually not performed when the cirrhosis is confirmed. However, they can be performed in the patient where the diagnosis is not confirmed, like that you are suspecting Wilson disease or hemochromatosis. You need biopsy of the liver tissue. So they are in good investigations, but they are selected for the selected patients, not for every patient. This is the picture of the cirrhosis where liver parenchymal architecture is grossly distorted, and there are massive fibrous septa which are formed in the liver tissue. So these are for the hepatitis. Now we see the complications of the cirrhosis of the liver. Important complications are the upper GI bleeding, which occur from the varices. Other is the portal hypertensive gastropathy, means bleeding occurred from the stomach tissue, or gastroduodenal ulcer. Sometimes the patient have the ulcer and the bleeding start from that area. Other is the cachexia, means patient have the massive weight loss. Nowadays classes are off. If you look at the patients of the cirrhosis, you will see that they are markedly wasted patients. They have the markedly lost their weight. So because of the cachexia. Other is the edema, especially ankle edema is checked. Other is the ascites, where there is a fluid in the abdomen. Other complication is the infection. Patient may have the spontaneous bacterial peritonitis, means SBP. The patient with ascites sometimes develop the infection in the ascites, and we call it the SBP. When there is infection, the patient have the fever, and for the if the patient has the peritonitis, this means there is tenderness. When we press on the abdominal wall, patient feels pain. If patient says I have the pain, this is the symptom. If we press the abdominal wall and patient have the feel pains, we call it as tenderness. Okay. Other is the encephalopathy. Patients may develop the encephalopathy. I will teach you in detail the encephalopathy, which has the 4 stages, and in each stage patient has a different presentation, which is known as the hepatic encephalopathy. These are all because of the toxic metabolites which are normally filtered from the liver tissue, but because of the liver dysfunction they are not no more filtered, and they goes directly to the brain, where they cause the edema of the brain tissue. Other is the bleeding tendency, because the patient has the liver has the important function of the in the clotting mechanism. Because of the factor 5, 8, 9, 10, they are used in the liver parenchymal tissue, and because of the deficiency or dysfunction of the liver tissue, patient develop the derangement in the clotting profile. Patient have the prolonged PT, prothrombin time, and activated partial thromboplastin time. Other is the impaired detoxification of the drugs. Drugs especially important are the drugs which are used in the for the sedation. So we ask the patient do not use the sedatives drugs because they are not properly detoxified in chronic liver disease or cirrhosis of the patient. This ultimately leads to the high toxic level in the blood, and this can ultimately lead to the comatose state. So for the patient with cirrhosis of the liver, no drugs which creates the dizziness or sleep, they are not advised. In fact, they are, we can say it's contraindicated. These are basically the basic complications which occurred in the cirrhosis of the patient, and we will in the next lecture we will discuss in detail each of the complication, like varices, what will happen in the varices and how can we prevent it. Other is edema or ascites, SBP, hepatic encephalopathy, bleeding tendency, and the avoidance of the drug. These all will be discussed in the next lecture. I advise you, please read these topics from the your books, because this is the time when you should read it. Just go through from the book. Otherwise, your exam will definitely come at fixed time, and if you are not reading these topics, then the course becomes very hectic for you to revise at the examination night. And so I repeatedly advise you, please read from the books, and so that daily one topic or two topic is easy to revise. And when you have the revision of these topics for the examination night, you will not find any difficulty in revising all these topics. If the regular examination means regular classes will come, we will definitely arrange tests for you. But as far as now is concerned, you must read these books, these topics from the books regularly. Thank you very much. If you have any question or query, please send to me in my WhatsApp group or in my Facebook group. Your each query is welcome. Okay. Thank you very much.